So where does authenticity comes from? And what does actually yourself means? Really, if we think about it, it's a lot of things at the same time. What is self? What is identity? What makes us different from other people? What makes us identify ourselves with certain traits and certain characteristics is actually something we cannot really say is even ours. It is maybe pushed by your family, by your society, by your religion, by your whatever was, like we know it mostly is coming from the childhood. However, if we're gonna try to shuffle those things in order and try to place those in the boxes of like what is coming from the outside and what is actually me, and what makes me myself, the self, the most authentic self, it's quite a different topic from what you asked, but I believe it's really worth covering as well. We don't even know what is identity in the first place. Something, well, it is segregated in a couple things. Some of those are what we might call genetics, something that is already born with us, because the two of the same kind, the twins, they are born, they're physically the same, they're more or less in the same conditions. However, one is different to another, means we have something inside already. There's a difference in that. So okay, there is some part of us which is different as a process of evolution, as a general process of evolution, which is inside of us. Some genes of ours are different, which makes us a different person, different identity. The other is definitely the society, the social aspect of what is forming us in there. What we get in touch with every day, what we eat, what we consume, not only in terms of food, but also in terms of what we see, what we listen to, what type of information, thoughts, ideas we get into our mind, what we get in touch with. On top of that, there's one more, which I would not be so sure of if I would state it correctly this time. If not, I will just put a link underneath of what exactly I meant. But it is something that we decide what we are forming out of ourselves, that we decide to work towards, that we decide to draw our direction to. Those are important for us to understand where the identity comes from. However, do we need to dig down even more of like what is human then? Because what makes human different from other species is super key in this sense, because of if we can think of one character trait that is unique for all the humans, that is what makes us humans, is actually where we get into this quite a contradicting topic of what we're going to identify ourselves with. Because what makes us human is not that we have two hands, two legs, and we look more or less the same. We might have different color skins, we might have different hate and everything. A lot of things might be different. However, what is it that makes human a human and not an animal and neither a plant? I believe we should look at a broader picture of what evolution took us to be here now. First, as a plant, we were dependent on earth, on the soil aspect, and what we will get, what will we survive or will not, will very, very strongly depend on what soil we have. Later, as an animal, we became less dependent on soil. We became more free, in a sense, to choose of, okay, now we are not dependent on soil, what we are dependent on is our hormones. and our hormones in this case would play the key role in our survival. It's gonna identify, it's gonna define what color I'm gonna be, what hate, what power, what character traits. All of those is what defines an animal and makes it different, an evolutionary jump after the plant. However, a human cannot be called an animal already, because we're not defined by our hormones. We do not become angry because our face became red. We do not always, let's put it this way, we do not always go for food if we have hunger inside us. We do not always strive for that. We can resist food for days, for many days, if we have a sentiment about it. If we're dedicated for some idea that, okay, we're not gonna eat because this person called me an idiot. I'm not gonna eat from him anything. And what is that? That is pure sentiment. As humans, what makes us different is actually not what many would think. We had a discussion on that during the last discussion panel, and we heard a lot of things like feelings, and like we know plants have feelings, it's proven already. Animals have feelings, doesn't make them unique, doesn't make us unique. It's like there are many things that we think makes us differentiate. However, what makes us really humans and the next step as an evolution, next evolutionary jump, is what is called psychosomatic identification, psychosomatic creatures. We're moved by ideas, we're moved by beliefs, we're moved by what people might call minds. This is what is moving us. However, is this an end to an evolution of a human? Or do we actually see examples of people who went further, and as one of the most advanced species on the planet at the moment, we made a further step. Some of us made even a further step from now what can be called not identifying themselves with their body, which would mean identifying themselves with their animal instincts. Yes, I want sex, I'm going and getting sex. I want food, and that's all I'm driven by. That's not true for most of us. Most of us are driven more by things like, I want to become the best, whatever you are striving to become the best in, this most probably makes you a human, a lot more human already, simply because you identify yourself not with your body desires, but with your mind desires. Where is that coming from? Where are those coming from? Sentiments, and we talked about it already. What forms those? It is the three. The third I would still put in once I'm more sure, but the first two for sure. And the third step for a human, the third stage for a human, so to say, would actually be identification with the spirit. When you're no longer identifying yourself with your body, with your animal instincts, with your animal desires, neither with your mind, with your ideas and beliefs that, yeah, I want to be the best this. Like yesterday, tonight, there was a fight for the belt, and it made me think of like, how funny is that? We are striving, so many of us are striving to fight over the crumbs, these little pieces of happiness that are thrown across the planet, as we can call it another way, resources. And we are striving to fulfill this unlimited hunger inside of us as humans for happiness that we want, because we don't want this much of happiness, neither this much of happiness. We want the unlimited. We want it's like no matter what you want in this moment, if you're gonna think about it, it's like dream the biggest possible. Now dream even bigger, and after that, what's after? It's like, and I'm gonna frustrate you with this question a lot. What's after? What's after this biggest thing that you are dreaming about at the moment? And this question will cause a lot of cringe inside you. This question will cause a lot of cringe, just because I promise you, this is what you can frustrate people with very easily, because they will tell you, most of us won't even know what we want, and some of us that do, you can frustrate them very easily with what is it that is after, and what's after. Because we want the unlimited happiness, and no matter what we're trying to fulfill it with, we're traditionally thinking of the ways to fulfill it with something that is limited, with something that is already limited by definition. What is it? Fame, money, women, sex? Or even like today's situation, which I started with, for Conor McGregor, to what is he fighting for? Like to become more famous, to become more with more money too, and or for this little crumb for having the title of having 3 belts. It's like what is that? What is that even? It's like this is a little crumb of happiness that can you imagine how many people are fighting for this? How many people are professionally working towards that every day, so that they can get a chance to, well, in this case, literally fight for this little crumb of happiness of like being called like, yeah, I'm this, whatever, I've achieved that. That's our second stage, psychosomatic identification with the mind. Or is there other choice, which would be a next step for evolution as a human, where you actually identify yourself with the unlimited, with the supreme itself, where you're no longer this small box, no longer this small shell, which is called ego, this form of the body, form of the mind, whatever it is that you identify yourself with in terms of mind. Or you are everything. You are everything at the same time. The idea of all is one is very distant for many of us. That's why I'm not pushing towards that. Let everyone take their time. But just for you as a perspective, answering your question of what's after. What's after I am the most successful? What's after I am this champion of the 3 belts, the 4 belts, the 5 belts? What's after? What's after? After? What is it? We will never be satisfied. And it's like, luckily enough, we're seeing the examples of people who achieved whatever it is my craziest dream possible I can think of. There is a person who is already this. And if we look at this person, what is he doing? He's striving for more. And he would always be. Because this is what makes us human. This unlimited hunger inside of ourselves. This dark hole that is never fulfilled. And we can use it as our enemy in case of identifying ourselves with the animal needs, with the body. We would definitely be hating this inside us, because what we think we want is the food, the sex, and whatever else is this, that the animal needs, the security. You sure? Okay, then why do we have so many problems with overeating, with with nymphomatism? I'm not sure how to say that term. It's like with being addicted to sex, being addicted to food, being addicted to those, and like not being able to control ourselves. Because why is that? No animal on the planet has this problem. They're gonna eat as much as they can, and they're gonna go and leave that. We're worse than animals in this case, because what we're doing is we're trying to satisfy this like dark hole. And that's why we're never satisfied. What we think we would be satisfied, we try to gather all the resources in one place, and that's when maybe I am satisfied. But we know that it's also not how it works. And in case of the mind, this dark hole inside us, what does it drive us to? And why is this a torture in this case as well? It's because, okay, we put ourselves a craziest dream. And we strive towards it. We work hard, we work our asses, we're really about to break at some points. And we might break, or we might achieve it. But are we really satisfied with that? Who of us are smarter those who are working towards trying to learn how to increase this happiness state, how to less depend on us having something to strive for, which is useless for us in the long term anyway, which is in the end means nothing. We work towards having that first woman as our lay count, as a pickup guys. Okay, we got our first lay. For how long are you celebrating your victory? How long does it last until you realize that, man, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I wanted. And you will strive for more and more and more the further down the road you go. So the escape from that, from this circle of a hamster wheel, which never ends, this hanging the carrot, another carrot in front of us is a donkey that is like just jumping after it, can be trying to seek in this unlimited field of happiness, not fighting over the crumbs. It's like, it's funny because also these thoughts came from today's karmic management reading. It's like every even new strategy for business is talking about the same thing, like blue ocean, like karmic management. All of those are speaking about the same exact patterns, which is the next step, not only in evolution of a human, in which can be approached to anything, from our business to our dating life. We see examples of those too. This is what I'm also partly bringing to you, trying to partly bring to you, and many other fields. And this is applicable everywhere. As long as you don't stop identifying yourself with, okay, first your animal needs, and moving into the next step of evolution for yourself as an understanding, okay, now I can identify myself with ideas if I'm at this stage, because I'm more free in this case. Or if you are at this stage already where you're identifying yourself with the mind, I'm the hustler type, I'm striving towards, I'm working towards something. Then the next step for you, the next jump, evolutionary jump for you as a human, would be identifying yourself more with the Supreme Consciousness itself. Trying to feel that I am in unity with all there is. I am one. And all there is one. And this is really, I wouldn't say hard work, neither smart work. It is the process we all want to go to, whether naturally or not naturally, but this is something that you can be working towards consciously. So the most key tools, at least I've discovered so far, for that would be the meditation and cold approach. And those two combine each other so greatly together. It's just because one gives you power to achieve pretty much anything in your life. If you think about it, cold approach is really something that you can achieve anything in your life with. You want to become the best in the marketing, you want to become the best in pickup, you want to become the best in even dancing or something like that. It would all only depend on your ability to connect with other people. It's like, if you just tell me any dream of yours in the comment or whatever, I would break it down into specifically how you can achieve that through your cold approach. I'm telling you, this is a great tool for you to achieve anything, because everything in this life can be achieved through connecting with people. Anyways, but and the other one, meditation, is combining with this so well, because we don't know what we want, and what we think we want is so much different from what we actually want, because all of us might think that, yeah, I want food, I want a burger, but do you really? Or is that the satisfaction that the burger gives you that you want? So, and there's more than that. It's like, do you want sex from a woman? Most probably not. The moment you, it's like, if you really would have wanted it, you would masturbate and you would be okay. No, there are a lot more things, and we seek for deeper satisfaction in everything that we do to fulfill our deeper hunger, deepest hunger inside us. Anyways, not to go too deep on that as well. So meditation, in short, it would give you ability to know what's right, what's wrong. It's like you would have this place to go to every time you're confused or not sure of whether I'm doing the right thing, because this is also super important for us. That is on the second stage. We have doubts. We have a lot of doubts when we're working towards becoming the best magician, the best fighter ever. We have doubts of whether we really want that. Is this right? Is this right for me, for the universe? Who knows? Like, and meditation really gives you a place where you go to every time, and you know you will find the truth. You know it never lies to you, and it never will. Our mind does, though. All our life, it has been fooling us, and we still trust our mind more than our, you can call them hearts or whatever. So do practice those two. Do achieve those. Grab for those in any way possible. I can only share with you the ways I've discovered for myself that are working for me. But I'm strongly encouraging you to, for any search, any type of search, also join us for discussion panels. And I'm more than glad to hear your opinions. Thank you.